All right, we're officially live. What's up, everyone? How's it going?
Not bad. How's it going, guys?
Rahul, I'm adding you in right now.
Nice Wednesday.
Yeah, nice busy Wednesday. Products dropped today. That's pretty cool. I think we'll talk about that, and it'll probably come into the questions as well that people ask. So if you're tuning in, we're doing this stream first of all to answer all the mailbag questions. I actually am shocked. I just re-looked at this, and there's 419 comments on this. So I don't even know how many of these we're going to get through. We're going to be brutally honest in the questions, though, and answer the good ones, pass the bad ones, and just move this through, hopefully to give you guys some visibility into what Nier's been up to. And then we'll talk a little bit about squads and events coming up in January as a prequel, just overall kind of setting of where Nier is at and what we're hoping to get to. Also, there was an open invite for other people in NF to join, so we might have some guests just hop on randomly as they have time while we're streaming. So you got the Builder Ops team here with you today. These are the people who are essentially building Legion and working with most of the devs and builders in the ecosystem. So feel free to post questions in the chat as we go. And we're going to try to get through as many of these as possible because there's a lot of them. So why don't we just go in order? If you guys want to pick one you guys see from the screen, we can start with whatever you guys like and go from there.
Another one from Prague, where is it possible to introduce a project incubator that helps early stage projects with preparation, investor readiness, market reach, and user acquisition? Oh, sorry, I got you guys. Is it possible to introduce a project incubator that helps early project with preparation, investor readiness, market reach, and user acquisition without requiring direct monetary investments from the incubator? Like, that could be a good start.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Anyone have thoughts on that they want to just kind of say right off the bat what they're thinking of? Let me zoom in on it, actually. If no other hot takes, I mean, I'm happy to kind of speak of how we're thinking of approaching this as well. But yeah, go for it.
I mean, I could talk about kind of just the general like industry like challenges as a whole, right? Like, so there are incubators out there of like online hackathons, online like cohort events, like online builder meetup groups, where they are focused on early stage projects, kind of in that ideation stage, and it's like you get together with a group of cohort people for like 2-3 weeks, and you guys are building together, and there's no capital there necessarily from anybody as part of that particular cohort. Universities do this quite often. A lot of enterprises kind of do this internally as well with this internal development. The challenge is ultimately is that at some point you're going to need some sort of capital. If you're going to hire engineering offshore, there's going to be cost to that. If you're going to hire marketing resources, there's going to be cost to that. So sometimes you're going to hire an advisor, there's going to be cost to that. You need to hire legal people. You got to file legal paperwork. The challenge is that you can't do everything for free. You could do things at a very low cost price, but you can't do everything for free. So that's the challenge, is that at some point there needs to be some investment coming from somewhere, either yourself or from an incubator or from some sort of investment committee of sorts.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, just to put this very bluntly, I think that there can be helpful things that come from preparation and like market analysis, pitch materials, etc. But the bottom line is, if you're building something, can you get the product live or on testnet to prove it out? Can you raise funds for the product? And that's, I think, the difference between the new approach of Nier of being a product-oriented strategy as opposed to a purely ecosystem play, is we're essentially letting the teams in the ecosystem prove the quality of their product and prove their capacity to raise funds. Because as Shai said, those are the two things that are going to actually allow the project to succeed in the long run. Otherwise, it's a bit of a money pit. So, but good question. All right, next one. I kind of liked this one. I thought this one was pretty targeted. It was, if you had to give one, and we can all do this as well. I'd love to hear everyone's takes if this is legit or not. If you had to give one single honest, verifiable sentence that a top tier team should choose to build on Near today over ETH2, Solana, or Sui, one thing that others genuinely cannot claim in 2025, what would that sentence be?
Can I have a moment to yield, and I'll resume you and answer in a second?
Yeah, for sure. Anyone want to take it?
Elliot's the only one that got my joke there. That was the sentence, literally. We have a function on chain called yield and resume, right? The ability that you can pause the compiler or pause the transaction midway while something off chain happens, wait for that thing to happen, and then continue the transaction. And you have one atomized transaction at the end. There's no other chain that can do that. And when you're talking of a lot of the financial use cases, you're talking a lot of the high performance use cases, we can't have this need to have thousands of transactions that we need to then compile to get a view of what that transaction looked like end to end. You have to have this ability to pause and wait, or what we call the yield and resume feature. So that's my one sentence as a joke.
Yeah, good hot technical take. I like that. Elliot, you want to piggyback on that? Seems like you have some thoughts as well.
Yeah, I mean, yield resume is huge. I'm glad that Shai did that. That was a little clever joke you had there. The other one I would say that you really can't do on any other L1 is on Near. The account model is just so powerful. On Near, a account is also a human readable name. It is a smart contract. It is able to transact on other chains via chain signatures. There's really no account out there that is as powerful as a Near account.
All right, it's saying voice is low. Is voice low for everybody, or is voice just low for some people? Go ahead and tell us what the feedback is. I don't know. We'll fix it as we go. So, okay, that's interesting. Ewan and Raul, any other thoughts on y'all's side of what this single verifiable sentence is? I like these answers, but I'm also thinking realistically, it is a technical hurdle to understand some of this. So maybe you can give us the business pitch for the one sentence of single, honest, verifiable truth.
From my side, it will be high volume, low TPS, scalable chain comparing to the others. And you can see it through Near Intents, where we're doing like 6 to 7 billion volume at the moment. I haven't checked the current volume, but like we are going to get more shards coming into Near, as well as we're going to generate more and more volume. So it will fit the B2B standard for businesses to come into Near and build on it without having to worry about anything going down or any transactions like lagging behind. Like that is what I think.
That's your sentence. That's your sentence. Good answer, but it was a sentence. Good, solid thesis there. Any additional new thoughts, Rahul, and then I'll add mine and we'll close off and move to the next one.
I just believe that Near is the one-step solution for all the projects wants to build on. Near have all the tech, so anyone is welcome to just build on Near. They need anything, dev is there, dev support is there.
Near has all the tech. Okay, interesting. Good one. Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is I think Blake kind of nailed it. To be a little controversial though, I would say AI and intents is Near. And what I mean by that's the sentence. AI and intents is Near. That's the one thing that builders should consider if they come to build from other ecosystems, because the AI part, there's been a lot of skepticism towards. We just dropped 2 products today that I think will hopefully start to make people realize there is a roadmap. There's a full-fledged AI team in SF. There is a pretty big plan around bringing AI, and then connecting those together. AI and intents means this AI plan is directly connected to one of the fastest growing products in crypto that is meant to enable the swapping of assets and data. What the heck just happened? Why are we on double screen now? Sorry, that was a weird like vertical blip. Anyway, that's my answer. AI and intents is Near. Good question. Let's go to the next one. All right, who wants to pick the next one?
I'm commenting on some directly on here. I see one. It's like, what upcoming upgrades or features should developers expect that will make building dApps on Near even easier and more efficient? There's plenty of things coming out of DevHub, especially right now. There's a specific upgrade, which I'm going to comment on this one right now. There's NearKit, which is a new TypeScript package that has come onto the scene as of yesterday. We also have a lot of support for other abstraction SDKs as well, like including Kotlin, Swift, Python, our TypeScript, our Rust, and this list is always ever growing.
Yeah, there's a Go one as well. I was like, oh, so people still developing in Go.
Yeah, right. And to close that one off, this is all really being made possible because big upgrades are coming on type-safe RPC side. So we're getting that RPC, the output of it, a lot more type-safe, and that output is generating a lot better, cleaner SDKs for us.
Very nice. Anyone want to pick the next question? Wait and see. Good to see you, sir. Love your comments. And I actually mean that. You have one of the best personalities, I think, on the streams that we do. So keep up the good work. Who else wants to ask one? I mean, we can take this one. This one's been asked a lot. We also obviously have to be careful about how it's answered just from a positioning point of view from NF. But I'll be able to basically say the following. There is a very real and long ongoing discussion inside of Near that has to do exactly with the question of the tokenomics surrounding the release of the AI and the growth of intent-based products. And I think Alex Shevchenko spoke about this on the ecosystem collab call last week. There is not any outcome or thing that can be shared right now on the end of that discussion. But I think what's important for the broader community and ecosystem to understand is that the Near team is very aware of the need to tie Near tokenomics into the growth of these products. This is something that many people are thinking on the daily, and it's also something that they want to have solved or at least clarified in the next couple of months, because I think everyone knows being able to connect Near tokenomics with the growth of intents or AI is going to be pretty huge for visibility and growth of Near overall. So that's all we'll say now. No comment / unclear about any of these other promises that were mentioned, but I think it should be pretty clear to everyone that Near is pretty serious about connecting their products to the blockchain and by extension the token. So that hopefully answers that question.
I'll jump on one. There was one from Hamadex and Tonolog around builder support. The short of it is that we have a good amount of builder support that's available. We just operate in a very decentralized way, right? So one of the things that we're introducing is the Legion Builders chat. That is somewhere that you can go and jump in and you can get that support and guidance if you're looking to. It's not meant to be a direct support channel, but you can think of that as your kind of jumping off point for everything builder related, right? So if you're a builder, if you're geeking out on the Near tech, you're building products, you're building developer tooling, you're building infrastructure, things like wallets and relayers and other cool stuff like that. The builder chat is going to be your home to get that one-on-one support, not just from Elliot, myself, and the rest of the team that's here, but also for the community as a whole, because that's kind of the reality of the world that we live in, is that Elliot and I and everybody in the team here, even if we get 20 people in the room, we're never going to have all the answers. So we want to make sure that people have access to the broader ecosystem, all the subject matter experts that we have in the ecosystem in different areas of not just blockchain and AI, but all the surrounding Web2 technologies that are around that as well. So all that will be available through the builder chat as that hopping off point. And then we will have good guidance to help you get to things like the Shade Agents Telegram chat group, the developer tooling chat group, the documentation chat group, all these places where you can get really deep and nitty gritty on that specific topic that you're looking for, and get your level 400, 500 level technical question answered from the actual engineering people that are working on those features and functionalities, and the builders that are using those tools as well. So a lot of really good support that's available in the ecosystem. Really excited over the next couple of months, and particularly next couple of weeks, as we really hone in the support model through the builder chat.
Important thing to add on that is if you're building, this is the chat to tell us how your building experience has been. And I think like leading with honesty and leading, like being, kind, but also critically honest is really important for us to get better as we build this process over time. So we're just kind of starting this, new framework for how we're hoping to kind of grow Near across the board. And one of the deficits that we've identified is there's a lot of different chats with support, but there's not a single place for ownership, belonging, relationship, communication, feeling like you're actually kind of connected to the people who are either helping you or going to give you feedback or caring about what you're building on. And so the early vision for this chat is to do exactly that. And what we ask the builders is like, give it your best foot forward, come give it a try, ask questions, tell us what you're excited about, tell us what you have trouble with. And then more importantly, just be honest. If the chat's helpful, if it's not, what things can be made better. We will take every piece of feedback and we'll bundle it into a new try, next quarter. And we're going to continue to iterate until this is the best ecosystem for builders across crypto. That's kind of the idea of how we're approaching this. So great question though. All right. Who wants to pick another one?
I'll jump in another one. There was a question on what upcoming from Roghaya Bizar. What upcoming upgrades or features should developers expect that will make building dApps on Near even easier and more efficient? I'll say one of the things that I really enjoyed coming here almost over 8 months ago was the fact that when you build an AI, one of the challenges actually building in a trust execution environment and making sure that not only is that trust execution environment secure itself, but also the results that come out of that environment are also secure and you have the attestations. And so we had a really good integration. We still have it with Fala if you want to run your own TEs, but there is just as of like last week, there was a post by DevHub that walks through the Near out layer workflow. I'll post a link shortly, but it's really cool how you can actually run a TE workload as part of your workflow now, just kind of through a basic set of API calls and a basic level of imports in your code. It's no longer this complex world where you have to go set up your own TEs, set up your own key management services, do all this other stuff on the side. It's much easier now to interact with the trust execution environment and on chain, thanks both to Fala and Outlayer. So kudos to our Near AI team and everybody that's been working on that stuff. It's really exciting to see this stuff come to fruition. I'll drop a link here.
Nice. And also, just for the chat, does anyone have any hot takes on anything we've said to date? I'll put it up on the screen if you guys want to drop a truth bomb or just be, honest about how you find the product releases, the overall sentiment. Feel free to drop it. We'll put it up. We can engage. This is the best part of the job, honestly. All right, next question. I think we also got Tat coming in the studio, which would be cool.
This is Noah's Mr. Potato.
Oh no, I think it's Tat. Sorry, he's been muted. I'll wait for him to turn cameras on. So, all right, yeah. Next question. Let's take it. What else do we want to ask and talk about? How about this one? This is a pretty good future oriented one. Who wants to read this one? Elliot, you want to read it?
Sure. How will Near AI and intent-based interactions improve automation, cross-app actions, and onboarding for new users entering the Near ecosystem? Whoa.
I mean, you want to talk a little bit about the team that we talked to earlier today as well?
I mean, that one was really cool. That what was that one called?
So yeah, if you want to put it up or share screen, actually, it would be kind of interesting to segue slightly, because for you guys who don't know, we had a chat with this founder, really good dev and a really good product. Go ahead, Elliot, if you want to share screen.
Yep, I'm bringing it up. Yeah, dude, that was a cool call. And especially, what was his name? Artem. Good founder. I like him. Good builder. It's a complicated app, but what you don't see right here, I've already logged in, but it had a Google login. He's using his own auth strategy, but this whole application is built on top of shade agents and chain signatures. So by logging in with this Google account, non-custodial, but these addresses that exist for me, Bitcoin, Solana, SWI, these are all available for me to trade, and I can talk to show my balances. You can talk to the AI about your things. You can make trades and type inside of this. I don't have any funds uploaded, but he did do this demo of like, I want to swap 50% of my Bitcoin into Solana. And then it's probably not going to work for me because I don't have anything, but he did it, and it came up with a swap right here, and it used near intents to do a native swap from Bitcoin into Solana, and it was super smooth. He was just talking to it. I think this is a pretty sweet app. I do want to hear everybody else's thoughts.
No, I agree. I mean, I think this is, to me, like one of the biggest changes we're going to see in the Web3 onboarding is that the wallet is not going to be like in your face like it has been for the last couple of years. And we've had a couple of builders throughout, I would say probably the last year, that have had different permutations of this kind of like AI natural language onboarding, where you come in and I'm from like my family's perspective, right? Thinking of like a friend or a family member that can just jump in and say, oh, hey, I want to check out, what NFTs are available on Near, or I want to be able to trade this token versus that token, like the example that you just gave. They don't have to know all the underlying permutations and figure out the wallets and the different chains and how to manage that and all those things. And so it's much easier to do it this way. And then including things like just even like the strategy building, right? Somebody says, hey, I want to start investing in this token. What do I do, right? And it can start asking you questions to get your risk tolerance, your investment portfolio preferences, your strategy preferences, and then it goes and builds your own portfolio, and then it starts investing, DCA or whatever strategy you decide to do for you. So like the onboarding steps are going to be significantly cut down from like an hour and 20, 30 steps to like a few minutes. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. And there was this other feature that he had. It's like these tasks, so you can schedule with natural language. So send me like every Wednesday at 11:30. So here in 6 minutes, send me the price on ETH. I guess
Yeah, and I can't wait till we're going to see some of these be more active as well, right? So what they'll be able to do is like as you join the app, they'll be able to see the other on-chain activity that you've had in the past, and they'll be able to suggest strategies or things based on that activity too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's probably enough overview of this. We don't want to get too in the weeds on one thing just because there's a variety of different things to cover. So as I share screen again, the good question in the chat came up, and it was about the implications of AI being private and user owned, and how does this compare to current AI models? I think that's actually a pretty spicy question. Anyone have a take that they want to share on that?
I can jump in if anybody else does. Go ahead, Elliot.
No, I'm reading a question. Go ahead.
I mean, so the way I explain this to my family over the last month when I was spending time with them, and they're asking, what does Near do? What is Near different? What is this private AI stuff that you're talking about? I just really sat down and I explained to them that when we think about the next generation of the internet, there's going to be two key things that we have to think about. One thing is going to be that it's going to be an agentic driven internet, right? We're going to be interacting with agents, and we're going to be stating our intent to the internet to these agents, just like I state my intent to Elliot today, right? I say, Elliot, let's grab a pizza and hang out, or Elliot, let's go code this together. I don't tell Elliot, sort of my end state result and like, how I'm going to get there and the whole plan and everything. And only after that do we do it, right? So life works on intents, and that's going to be the next generation of the internet anyhow. So that is part of what we're building with Near Intents that's there. And the way I explain it to my family is that when you're going to go on the internet in the future, you're not going to be going to a particular website. You're not going to be going to google.com and searching and going to individual sites. And we talked about using different language model tools like ChatGPT and Claude and a bunch of others. And we talked about how that future of the internet is that natural language interaction. And you will state, hey, I want to do this, and then you'll get the responses back of what you're doing and how to do it. And so that's the intent-based AI economy part of it. What we then started discussing was the second point of that is around, well, all that you're doing, everything that's happening, don't you actually want to own all that and be the controller of that? And ownership isn't sometimes it's about monetization, right? A lot of times we put this monetization tag on things and we say, oh, you can monetize everything. Okay, that's part of it. But ownership is also about control. I might not monetize my calendar, but I want to be able to control who has access to my calendar. I might give access to Elliot to see my calendar or Michael to see my calendar, but maybe for some reason on the weekend, I don't want them to see my calendar. Or if I go on vacation for a few weeks, I don't want them to see my calendar. So that is ownership, right? And that control or the decision that I make to decide who has access and control is part of that private internet. And so when we talk about private AI in the future, and that was the first part of that question, that private and user owned, it's about the fact that the way that I interact with the internet, I own that, not only the inputs that I give to the internet and the models and the websites and everything they interact with, but also the outputs that come out of that. I also own that as well. And I get to decide what happens to that all the way through. So there's plenty of different use cases that you can think about, whether it's medical and you're interacting with an agent about your medical history and you want to own all those pieces in there, whether it's legal and you need to own all your legal data. We have to think about how there's a lot of private data that we're sharing with the internet in general. And over the next couple of years, I think we will see a very much a rubber band effect where people will start to take the privacy more seriously in terms of just that they want to control who has access to what data.
Cool. Yeah, solid answer. We got actually a House of Stake representative here. Pretty dope. Do you want to introduce yourself? Just give a little background. Another Near OG as well. So good to see you.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Evgeny from House of Stake. I'm part of House of Stake core team. I'm working with Humanity, who is working for all core documentation for House of Stake as code of conduct, mission, vision, values, and constitution. And I'm here happy to answer any questions related to House of Stake.
Nice. Yeah. So there's actually a couple. We'll start with the one on the screen here. After 3 months of the VE Near pilot, what's the long-term funding model, protocol level integration, or a new governance proposal? I think that's a good one. There's going to be a couple. So take your time on these and go for it.
Yeah, at the moment, we just approved HSP 003 that has rewards for first 3 months for veneer holders. And after it, in this proposal says that we will reconsider another incentives for veneer holders. So I think for first 3 months, we will have good API, and then there should be a new proposal or a new discussion about it.
Good, solid. And I think Christian just asked a question too on here as well about the main goal of House of Stake for 2026. I know there's actually a lot of team members of House of Stake, so I would say don't take this as the comprehensive answer, but your perspective would be great to hear.
Yeah, our the main goal to get legitimacy. This means for me that we need to get much more veneer tokens to our House of Stake treasury, and after we get legitimacy, we can start decide about changes about any proposals in ecosystem. For example, as I understand correctly, House of Stake is can not only decide about funding for projects or any incentives, but also in future, if House of Stake will have a big legitimacy, it's in theory can decide about, for example, near intense fee or others such core decisions. So my main goal is get a lot of veneer and get legitimacy for House of Stake. But of course, I am not head of governments of near House of Stake, and I think core team can have different views from my perspective.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And maybe just to add on to that, I think that Ilya definitely has a very high level vision for what House of Stake is going to turn into in the long run. He's very often ahead of the curve. And I think what I would recommend people to remember here is, even if a lot of the House of Stake dynamics right now are still in the discovery phase and still just getting off the ground, don't doubt the fact that there is a long-term vision and plan around what's going to happen, and people are working hard to deliver on that. So great answers there. I think that was really, really helpful and clear. Let's see if, oh, actually, here's another one. I was wondering why it wasn't coming up on the Control F. So this one is about how is the introduction of VE near expected to impact the long-term distribution of stake between large and small validators, and what mechanisms are planned to prevent further centralization of staking power as more near becomes locked in VE near? I think that's a hard question, so take your time if you want to wait to answer it.
Yeah, I can probably chime in and share some thoughts around this. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it is a concern and a pretty valid one, to be honest. One of the things Agora has been working on, I think it's Agora, it could be other parties involved as well, is you will be able to, or you already are able to delegate directly to specific staking pool. So what happens right now is you get liquid staked ST near, R near, or LI near, and then you kind of lock it up. And then you kind of rely on these liquid staking providers to make sure they're distributing the stake evenly. But what you could do instead is, say you wanted to support like the Shih Tzu validator or some other small validator like In-tier validator, which are doing great work in the community and ecosystem. You could now have that possibility to stake directly via that staking pool and still participate in House of Stake. So that's a relatively new feature. It hasn't been widely announced, or I'm pretty sure not everyone's aware, but because the process to get it done is a bit clunky as of now. But there are improvements to kind of try and get it in a more friendly UI, whether that's in wallets and stuff. That's probably the only thing that I can think of the top of my head that's aimed at tackling this, but there'll surely be other things in mind.
Nice answer, Potato. Very helpful. Okay. Anyone else see a question they want to answer?
Yeah, I'll take a, there's a short one. There's one I can answer pretty quickly. There's a question around DCML from Syntax, that if it's only for LLM, because all the stuff that they're seeing today is focused on LLMs. The short answer is no. In the long run, DCML is for multimodal AI. The challenge is right now that LLMs are the easiest ones to compute in a decentralized and trust execution environment, just simply because the compute requirements are lower. That's it. So as we see more innovative and efficient image and video models, you will see more of them operate in a decentralized compute platform.
Great. Solid answer there. Any other ones standing out to people? We still have quite a few to go through. This one's an easy one because I know that Light is going to be leading one of the squads that we just released today. So this is actually a pretty decent chance to talk about the vision of this quickly. But you know, the missions and the badges of Legion are to build a talent pool on Near, right? So we're trying to get the best people who know about all the different facets of Near, and then as that talent pool develops, we're trying to plug them in and give them opportunities and also put them to use for growing the ecosystem. There's actually a lot coming down the pipeline in terms of the activations of the Legion. What are we going to actually do, right? So now that missions are live, we got about 100 ascendants. The army is growing. We're starting to organize and prepare to get after it, for lack of a better word. Getting after it means we're going to organize into raid, TikTok content, events, and intense BD, and we're going to actually set incentives for the high performers and try to turn this into a proper org where people are hungry and where people are actually going after outcomes and objectives. It's a time-based process. So we couldn't do this right off the bat. because we needed to build that base layer of talent and base layer of interest. We won't be able to turn this on at scale right away because we need to kind of feel people out and understand what people are capable of, what people are hungry to do. But that's the direction we're going. So if you have a desire to be a part of this, jump in and join now. I can tell you from where crypto is right now, and regardless of market dynamics, this is probably one of your best opportunities, both because Near is a blue chip and a very strong L1, and because Legion is young and there's a ton of opportunity in Legion. So between those two things, do not fade the opportunities that are thrown your way. I think we're seeing this right now with people asking about the Ascendant NFT and trying to kind of catch up on 2 months of work. When if you were here 2 months ago, you started doing your missions, you got that NFT as soon as it dropped. So it's a good primer. All right. Any other questions that are standing out to you guys? That's a good one. If Shy or Elliot, you guys know or want to speak to it.
Intellect, one of them.
So project for synthetic stocks, indices, trading. The answer I think is no. There's not any that are known, but I do know that this is of interest for a Near intense development pipeline, and the team that wants to focus on this and find a way of solving this is probably going to do very well. Just largely because I know that there's the Cauchy integration on Near intense. Usually what the bottleneck for these partnerships comes down to is the liquidity for the solver. So essentially, if you want to bring a real world asset on a Near intense, you will need to have sufficient liquidity in the solver to allow for swaps to happen between two different solvers or the existing pools that you're swapping between. Yeah, I would say it might be a little too early for a product like this, but it's not something that's going to go away. And so if you're thinking about this and you're troubleshooting on this now, chances are it's probably going to find value in the next 6 to 18 months, and you might as well keep working on it. And we'd love to talk to you about it. So good question. All right. I love the sarcasm on these. Anyone else seeing good questions that they're asking? Or should we start trolling the bad questions? Sorry, I'm joking.
I mean, there was a question on next generation of children becoming future legionnaires. I'm doing my part with my 4 kids. So I don't know who else is contributing with their children.
Yeah, so I think this is an important one as well, right? Is like talking about the projects like Intellects and being head on about this is like, first of all, we don't see the full picture, right? They're an independent team. There was, conversations going back with certain members, partnerships, certain other things like that. Market dynamics change, things happen. All that being said, going forward, we are going to be doing our best to make sure that our community is protected, insulated, well aware of what's happening, and also more importantly, positioned to benefit from future launches. So the reason I want to take this question is because I want to make sure everyone understands that we see this. We are on the track of rectifying this, and this is not something that we want to become normal. So it's important that you guys keep asking these questions so that we continue to kind of learn from what's working, what's not working, and also learning from how best to communicate with the community and the ecosystem so that there's not fallout in the future. But thank you for that question. It's a good question. This actually might be an interesting one to talk about because it has been talked about for a while. I always have thought it's been dormant, and who is this one? Sorry. Solid near discussion, but you skipped the hard questions. Dive into ecosystem risks and real adoption next time. That's what actually matters. Hey, let's dive into it. We're all about the hard questions. What if you're still following as well, what do you see as the biggest ecosystem risks, and what do you see for real adoption? I actually think this is a really good one to talk about. So, and honestly, Shai, Elliot, Potato, or Rahul, if you guys have takes on the ecosystem risks and adoptions, let's talk about it.
I mean, I think the risk that we face is the reality risk of any ecosystem, any infrastructure player to begin with that is building, right? Not just an L1 or an L2, but if you're building a cloud provider, if you're building an infrastructure provider, it's just all about customer adoption and getting the right use cases built on your network in order to build that momentum over time. I mean, to me, that's a risk that any L1, L2, like I said, any other infrastructure player faces, regardless of whether you're the top like 5 or 6 coins that are out there. It's still a challenge because the market and industry as a whole is still so very immature and very young and new. And to me, that's still just the risk it is, right? It's just the risk in reality that we are still an immature industry. We, as an industry as a whole, we still don't have really strong product market fit. We still don't have a good understanding in the Web2 space of what we do. And that is something that why I'm here at Near is because I think we're doing an awesome job answering those things with the actual tech that we're building.
Any other takes?
This isn't really a risk, but I did see some chatter about this today where we recently reduced inflation because fees on Near have kind of come down a lot in the last few years. But at the same time, like we reduced inflation, but we continue to reduce fees. So there is concern around like, hey, where will we find equilibrium? And I know like we are getting more use cases. Intense is a heavy user on the blockchain, but yeah, we there's concerns around like where do we meet the equilibrium so that like it is sustainable long term. I don't have an answer to it though.
All right. Well, we haven't had any further follow-up there, so I think we can move on. But happy to always talk about the risks and the adoption timelines because they are long. Christian, when Holidays beer stream? It is going to be on the 26th of December, right after Christmas. We're going to do a live stream. It's going to be awesome. Oh, let's keep that question up if we can, guys. It's going to be 26th of December, Christmas hats, drinks, beverages, bring your stuff. Hopefully J1 will have an update, and also hopefully we'll have some other stuff to do as a community, and we're looking forward to it, and everyone should come because it's going to be cool. So 21st December, your girlfriend gives you a beer for, let's go, man. That's what we need. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Bring it, show it, bring it live. Love to hear that. All right. Any other questions or topics people want to touch on? I also want to use some time to talk about the events that we'll be doing to kick off next year. So does anyone see other urgent questions that they want to talk about?
I think there was a good question about how people who want to contribute to a Near ecosystem can contribute, expect holding Near tokens. Yeah, I think, Ozzy, I think you can answer it, but from my point of view, the best idea is join Near Legion, and there is a lot of tasks where you can prove yourself even without holding a lot of Near. Just do missions and contribute to Near.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And honestly, guys, to add to this, like, think about it from our perspective. We're rebuilding the Near community from the ground up in a sustainable and holistic way. We're trying to do this incrementally and provide opportunities that attract real talent, attract real contribution, attract real value, and don't incentivize the bounty hunters, the air-grabbed hunters, the Kaido slop of the past, and so forth. And so that's why 99% of Legion has been unmonetized to date, and why we're telling people to do your missions, get your SBTs, prove yourself, and from there we're going to actually start building in a more serious incentive layer for the real ones, right? OGB Black is here. Let's go. Welcome. Good question. All right. So I know a lot of people have been asking about attending events. One of the things that Ilya talks a lot about, which is, and I got to pull up the pictures here. So give me a second, guys. Ilya talks a lot about how Legion needs to go to the physical world. You know who actually talks about it more than Ilya is Balaji. Balaji loves talking about how physical world communities grow on the internet, and then they basically sprout roots and go physical. So in 2026, the Near Legion is going physical in the sense of we're going to actually start hosting consistent events around the world in different cities for people to come talk about Near, hang out, get to know what Near is all about, build a sense of familiarity with other people, hopefully become friends, socialize, and begin the process of setting up what the Near community in the real world is going to be. So I'm pulling up here the first city of events that Christian will be very happy with. So the first place, there's going to be 10 events in January, actually. So if you're around, be sure to attend. One of the first ones, and sorry, this is just going to be the Google Meet search, but it's in Minsk, Belarus. So we have a pretty big Legion community there on the map. We want to commit to Eastern Europe, so there will be others in the future: Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kiev, Warsaw, hopefully as well. Minsk is the first one because Christian's there, and as he said, he just got a beer fridge, so we weren't going to pass that up. That was a joke. He's going to be hosting an event probably in early to mid-January. It's going to be great. Please plan to attend. And this is also kind of a shout out if you are in Eastern Europe and you want to host an event, get in touch with us in the Legion chat as well, right? Because this is just the beginning, okay? The other part that I should emphasize about this is if you guys know about Metapool city nodes, Metapool Metapool nodes, the city nodes are coming. Metapool has an incentivized program for getting node stake. And we're working right now to get 10 Metapool city nodes set up for the 10 most active hubs around the world for the Near Legion. So this means that in these first events, as we start to kind of get this up and running, we're going to be feeling out where's there the most interest, where's there's the most commitment, where's there the best community. And from there, we're actually going to allocate a Metapool city node to that area to basically subsidize the development of the community over time and to create a more sustainable pathway. 10 slots for 2026 planned. So, and this is the thing, we don't know where people are going to care about Near, right? Like crypto is weird. There's a lot of bounty hunters. There's a lot of people who leave when the market gets bad. This is like, not in our control. It's on you guys to tell us where you want to see events, where you want to attend, where you want to sprout roots and build community. So if you're, committed to Near, which if you're in Legion, you should be, let us know. Because that's something we're actually have an open eye for right now of where we want to develop stuff. So one of the other places for sure is going to be in Lagos, Nigeria. We have a pretty strong Nigerian community on Near. There's actually going to be a couple of places in Nigeria that are going to be hosting events. So again, if you're tuning in here and you're from Nigeria, get in the Legion chat, reach out to us, tell us, where you want, where you want to host an event, where you can attend an event. We'll hook you up. We have a whole system to get you merch, to support venue, food, drinks, etc. You're not doing this on your own. It's a well-supported event. It's an opportunity. Like we said before, early Legion people, there'll be tons of opportunities. So if you're interested, go for it. I think there's actually going to be 3 events in Nigeria, by the way. So that's pretty cool. Where else are we doing events? Potato, Elliot, anyone else want to tune in? Where else we've been thinking?
Yeah, if anybody's in Chicago, booking a date for the last week of January around here. I actually just got out of a conversation this morning about it. So we're all locked and loaded.
Boom. So city number 3, Chicago,
Best
USA.
big city in the USA.
That's, putting Chicago on the map. That's pretty cool.
Chicago's
On the Legion map, because sure. Let's just say it's slacking compared to the rest of the world. But that's gonna be a great event. Elliot is gonna actually, it's gonna be a pretty detailed event. Let's say it's not just gonna be a meetup. There's gonna be a nice presentation around it. Good opportunity if you want to talk directly with the Near team, as Elliot's one of our DevRel leads. And if you're in Chicago, or if you know someone in Chicago, let us know. This will be another solid one that's up and coming.
Yeah, others that are in the works is our New Delhi in India. That's going to be a very fun one if you're in and around north of India. Rhyme's planning one in Nashville. That should be super fun as well because it's Rhyme hosting it, of course. And then JP is doing one in Frankfurt. So if you're in Germany, Central Europe, it shouldn't be hard to get to Frankfurt. Those are really exciting ones to look out for. Yeah,
it's pretty scenic. I think that's enough solid teasers just on where we're hosting events. So just for your high level plan here: Minsk, Lagos, New Delhi, Frankfurt, Chicago, probably more in SF before NearCon. The goal here is 10 events a month for the year of 2026. So if you want to host an event and if you want to participate in February, March, April, reach out to us now. We'll get you hooked up, and we'll make sure that you can host that event to kind of begin the foundations of building out the Near community. And I love to see Christian in the Legion chat with his beer fridge that's coming. So just as a reminder, because I think we're going to close out here. We're coming up on an hour. Just as a reminder to everybody, December 26th is when we're going to do the Legion Christmas live stream. Still need to find the right time for it, just to make sure that all time zones work. But it'll be holidays. It'll be festive. People can come on, share some beverages, chat, tell us what you really think about Near, tell us what you think about the state of the world. Maybe we'll mess around on Polymarket as well. Who knows? And from there, we'll kick off and start the new year strong. So thank you all for tuning in. Okay, so questions. How do you reach out to us? In the Legion chat. So if you have not already, nearlegion.com/mint, mint your SBT, join the Telegram chat and talk. We're all humans there. There's squads now. There's events coming. There's live streams. I'll restate again. This is the time to burn the midnight oil to help build the Near community, because we're starting from the bottom. We're building it back up from scratch, and it's going to be awesome. And we're just at the very beginning of this. So join us, and we'll see you guys on the next one when we do this again. And thanks for all the questions on the mailbag. We really appreciate it. So take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.